When I was a kid, I used to drink a ton of milk because I thought that it would make me grow stronger, healthier bones. But since studying nutrition here at Cal Poly, I've since changed my mind. This evening, I'm going to convince you that milk consumption is an unhealthy practice. This is important because it's likely that most of us grew up drinking milk, most of us still drink milk, and it's likely that all of us care about someone who does. I ask you to listen to my case for why milk does not make one's bones stronger, why it contributes to the acquisition of cancer, and how it's been linked to other dangerous diseases. First, let's take a look at how milk consumption has been found to weaken one's bones instead of making them stronger. Sonia Kokoljan, PhD, specializing in nutrition science et al., found in a study of an exercise program versus milk consumption and their effects on bone density that there was a 1.8 increase in bone mineral density for those who exercised, while there was no difference at all in bone density for those who consumed milk instead. A team of scientists headed by Diane Vestinich, Doctor of Science, found that women who drank 2 or more glasses of milk a day had a considerably higher chance of attaining fractures, while women who drank less than 1 glass of milk per week had less chances of fractures. Amy Joy Lanau, PhD in nutrition science, published an article that resulted in data that supports the theory that despite milk's abundance of calcium, the animal protein and sodium in it actually increases the loss of calcium through excretion. Their evidence further suggested that an increase of milk is not positively correlated with increased bone density. Frank Olsky, MD, a pediatrician at Johns Hopkins University, says that when a person is lactose intolerant, they actually lose nutrients, including calcium, instead of gaining them when drinking milk, through the resultant diarrhea. Now that we've seen how milk can weaken your bones, let's move on to how milk consumption has been found to contribute to an elevated cancer risk. In a peer-reviewed article, Dagfinn Aum, PhD in nutrition et al., found through an analysis of several studies that a high intake of milk significantly increases one's risk of prostate cancer. A team led by Gertrude Beering, PhD in genetics, found in a case control study that drinking milk from cows that were infected with a common oncogenic or cancer-causing virus caused humans to acquire the same virus in their breast tissue. They further found that its presence significantly contributed to breast cancer in humans. They further estimate that about 89% of America's dairy herds have this leukemia virus. Joseph Mercola, doctor of osteopathy, or the study of bones, says that the hormones that farmers inject in cows to produce more milk, called bovine growth hormone, increases the presence of a hormone called IGF-1. Our bodies also produce IGF-1, so we're physiologically sensitive to it. So according to Mercola, this hormone is readily absorbed into our bloodstream. He further asserts that IGF-1 stimulates breast cancer production and increases the growth of pre-existing cancers. Now, some of us do not drink regular milk, but organic milk doesn't have IGF, the bovine growth hormone. But it's likely that most of us actually drink unorganic milk, just because it's more expensive. And if you walk into any dairy aisle, it's likely that there's very little organic versus regular milk. Now that we've learned how milk consumption has been found to contribute to cancer, let's look at how milk consumption has been linked to other dangerous diseases. Frank Olsky, MD, a pediatrician at Johns Hopkins University, says that drinking cow's milk has been linked with iron deficiency anemia in infants and children. Without iron, our blood can't carry oxygen, so that's kind of bad. He further asserts that it's been found to play a significant role in the creation of arterial clogging and heart attacks. A team directed by Wenji Jiang, PhD, and specializing in epidemiology, which is basically a study of controlling disease, found in an analysis of 7 studies that there's a statistically significant elevated risk of acquiring Parkinson's disease through consuming milk and other dairy products. Now, though that's a correlation study, they found that through their data that it was actually statistically significant. A team of scientists managed by Carl Michelson, MD and PhD specializing in epidemiology, found in a 2016 study that a higher intake of milk was associated with a higher rate of mortality or death. So now you've all learned why milk consumption is an unhealthy practice. You've learned this by seeing how it weakens bones instead of making them stronger, how it can contribute to cancer, and how it's been linked to other dangerous diseases. So the next time you see someone pouring themselves a nice frothy glass of cow's breast milk, annoy them by letting them know some of what you learned today.
All right, Andrew, the proposition's clearly identified. There's an excellent preview of what the supporting structures are going to be. You signpost them as you get to it, so it's very easy to follow the argument and see how the points are connected to each other. I thought that you did a good job, for instance, on the second point, indicating and explaining what the risks are related to the virus and related to the bovine growth hormone. So those are minor points under the secondary point that give a little bit more explanation. On both the first and the third point, and a little bit on the second point, you're very dependent upon the conclusions of experts, which is not unreasonable, but it sounds like, sometimes we're getting a data dump of opinion on this without nearly the same kind of explanation that we got. Like I said, I thought the explanation on the second point was a little bit clearer. When it comes to the evidence, though, you had excellent resources that you cited, excellent testimony. I think you could use some, because a lot of the studies make reference to, like that last one, a statistically significant relationship, but we don't ever get any sense of what those statistics represent, how much greater the risk is. You talked about prostate cancer at one point, for instance, and we don't know what the increased level of risk is a percentage or in terms of numbers or anything like that. So I felt like some of the numbers were a little bit limited there, but the use of authority and the testimony that you had was really very good. I think your generalizations seem to be solid, and the presentation is also very good. All right, thank you.